In this video, we're gonna look at how you can grow your email list by being a podcast guest. There isn't a whole lot you're gonna need to get started and grow your email list by being a podcast guest, and it's as simple as 1, 2, 3 really. The first thing you're gonna need is an email marketing service. You wanna have some kind of service that helps you collect email addresses. There is plenty of options out there. You may be using one already. If you aren't, you can do a quick Google search. There is Aweber, there is ConvertKit, there is MailChimp, Infusionsoft for more advanced things, Drip, and the one I use, my personal favorite, ActiveCampaign. What I like about ActiveCampaign is that it's easy to use. You can use it to do simple things, but you can also use it to do more advanced stuff. So if you want to do marketing automation, sales automations, and things like that, ActiveCampaign is your friend, and it's also pretty wallet friendly, which isn't bad. The next thing you're gonna have is actually something compelling. If you just simply ask people, hey, give me your email address or sign up for updates, that isn't really compelling. So you want to have what is called a lead magnet. A lead magnet is a free resource that you give people in exchange for their email address. And a lead magnet can be many different things. It can be an ebook, a checklist, an infographic, a mini video, a video course, an audio course, what have you. So number one, you want to have an email marketing service to kind of manage things behind the scenes. And number two, you want to have the lead magnet, which is what you have in the front end, the thing you offer people as an incentive for them to give you their email address. Keep in mind that podcasts typically are audio only, or even if it's a video show, you're going to be on camera. So people don't have a visual component to the conversation, and that's important for you to keep in mind, because as you're thinking about your freebie, you can consider creating something that is visual. So if you talk about a topic that is quite technical, quite visual, you can create a freebie that complements that makes up for the lack of the visual component during the interview. So if you talk about a 4-step process, for example, or a yoga exercise, a workout routine, or perhaps you talk about something like photography or design, what have you, you can create a checklist, an infographic, a piece of visual content, and that's what you offer during the interview. In fact, you can even say something like this during the interview. I know this is quite of a visual topic, and here we're talking about it over audio. That's why I've created an infographic that you can download, or whatever the resource is, and then you would mention your landing page. After your email marketing service and your lead magnet, one thing you should consider having in your toolkit is actually a landing page builder. A page builder is a tool that allows you to create websites, web pages, webinar registration pages, landing pages, sales pages, you name it. There is again plenty of different options. Similarly to email marketing services, there is plenty of different landing page builders. There is lead pages, there is Unbounce, there is something like Optimize Press, and then there is again my personal favorite, a tool by a company called Thrive Themes. They actually have a couple of different tools you can use for lead generation to grow your email list. They have Thrive Leads, and then they have the builder more in general, and they have a new builder called Thrive Architect. So that's the one I would recommend you check out. And the way Thrive Architect and other builders work is that you can use templates to create landing pages, which is great. So even if you aren't any coding wizard, you can use that. And what you can do to be very efficient is you can use a template, you can customize it, and once you have found a layout that you like, you can save it, and that's the layout you're gonna have whenever you want to create a landing page to grow your email list. You're gonna have your layout that is ready to go. And in case you're wondering, I've linked to the resources mentioned in the video description here below. There are a couple of strategies you can use to grow your email list and generate leads by being a podcast guest. The first one is actually borrowed from blogging, and it's called the content upgrade technique. And here's how it works. Instead of creating a general lead magnet that you have on your website and you offer to everybody, you want to create a lead magnet, a freebie that is tailored to a specific piece of content. For blogging, that means creating a downloadable resource for every blog post you publish. For podcast guesting, that means creating a downloadable resource that is tailored to every single interview you do. And why does that work? The reason is simple. If a person is reading a specific blog post or listening to a specific podcast episode, is because they are interested in that topic. So if you offer a resource that is connected to the topic, you have more chances of people converting, going from blog reader to email subscriber, or in your case, from podcast listener to email subscriber. If creating a downloadable resource and mention the landing page on every single interview you do sounds like a lot of work, then I have a different strategy you can implement. Instead of investing time in creating a content upgrade for every interview, consider creating topical lead magnets. And here's what I mean. Let's say the topic you often are asked to talk about on podcasts is blogging. In that case, you can take a moment and think about the layers of blogging. For example, how to start a blog, how to create content, how to promote that content, and how to monetize a blog. Let's say these are 4 subtopics related to blogging you talk about. What you could do is you can create 4 downloadable resources, so one connected to each topic: how to start a blog, how to create content, how to market the content, how to monetize a blog. And then you're gonna rotate the lead magnets depending on what you talk about on the specific interview. So if you're asked about how to build a blog, then you would mention that lead magnet. If you're asked about blog monetization, you would mention a different lead magnets, and so forth. So this helps you in the sense that you don't mention a general lead magnet, but you're still gonna mention something that is related to the topic of the interview, and you increase the chances of people converting and going from podcast listener to email subscriber. Something you have to keep in mind if you want to grow your email list through podcast guesting is how podcast listening works. People typically do other things when listening to podcasts, so you want to make sure that the landing page you mention has a link that is very easy for people to remember. And here's a practical example. If I were to mention a page that goes something like yanilunga.com/10-steps-to-build-your-blog, would you keep that in mind? Would you be able to remember that? Yeah, I didn't think so. On the other hand, if my link was yanilunga.com/10steps, that would be very easy for you to remember. So you want to keep that in mind when going on podcasts and leveraging your interview to grow your email list. There is a particular tool you can use to really customize your links, and it's called Pretty Link. It's a WordPress plugin, which means that you have to be using a WordPress site. So you can use it to create what are called link redirects. And a link redirect is basically a link that, when typed, redirects people toward a specific page. So perhaps the actual link of your page is pretty long, but you can use Pretty Link to create a second version that is the one you mentioned on the podcast, and is the one that is easy for people to remember. Not a WordPress user? In that case, take a look at Bitly, which is a link shortening and link customizing service. The last strategy you may want to look into if you want to grow your email list by being a podcast guest has to do with how people listen to podcasts. If you think about it, most people listen to podcasts with their smartphone. And what that means for you is leveraging what is called SMS marketing. There are certain services. I know Lead Pages has Lead Digits. Active Campaign, the email marketing service I use and mentioned, has an SMS marketing feature, and they allow people to sign up for your email list and get a freebie through SMS. So they send a specific text, a specific keyword to a certain number, and then they are subscribed to your email list. When it comes to SMS marketing, is a relatively new concept and is expanding. So depending on where you are in the world, may or may not be available yet. I know that Active Campaign, for example, as of today, is still limited only to certain areas. North America, Great Britain, and I believe Spain and perhaps Australia. So double check, do a little bit of research and see if there is a tool that you can use for the area you're in and the area the listeners are in, and leverage that to grow your email list through SMS marketing. In case you are new to podcast guesting and this is the first time you watch any of my videos, make sure to check out some of the other videos I recorded, because I've been talking about podcast guesting in a series of videos. And last but not least, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you won't miss any of the future videos I'm gonna be sending your way.